back at you with gloves off, and today we have a special guest, Fernando Alarcon, who's running for City Council District 6. Good morning. How are
Good
you
morning.
today?
Doing well. Gracias a Dios.
Good, good. We've heard a lot about you. We have for the last 20 years,
Definitely.
especially because of your work with the fire department. Tell us about those experiences.
It was great. I loved my job. When I came in back in 1981, there was not much available for the fire department back then. With the great work of the union, getting us all together, uniting individuals, and making the city aware of the equipment that was needed to protect the citizens of Laredo and the citizens of the county. We needed more SCBAs, fire engines, newer equipment. We needed more stations. We needed to broaden our lives to get into hazardous materials, to get into confined space rescue. We did everything we could in order to improve all the well-being of the firefighters, one, and the well-being of our citizens of Laredo. And that was the most important thing. We needed to make sure that the safety of the citizens and their property was well taken care of, and we fought hard for that. In the 31 years that I was there with the department, I was there as a president for 4 years. I was there as a vice president for several years. I was there for second vices for several years. So we would sit down and just talk to each other and get our heads together and say, what is it that we can do to make things better for Laredo and safer for Laredo? And we worked out a lot of things. We, what they call hammer out the issues with the city, by negotiations and so forth. And we worked everything extremely for the better. And God willing, things turned out really good. Back in the day when I used to negotiate the contracts, I don't know if you remember Mr. Peter Vargas. He
Sure.
was the city manager, second city manager of the city. And back then he was very, very into opening up an EMS service. We did have EMS, but it was just EMT services. And all we really can do is grab the person's hand and say, we're almost there, ma'am. We're almost at the hospital.
Sure.
Couldn't do any intubation. You couldn't do anything to the individual other than make sure that the person gets there well. Then he came up with the idea with the paramedic system. Fabulous idea. I said, well, okay, what is it going to take? He goes, well, let's start off with one ambulance. And we need 10 paramedics. And what we did is we, went ahead and Mr. Vargas posted out there who was interested in becoming paramedics. We had about 20 individuals out there. Boom, they became paramedics, and we started the paramedic system. Now, being one of the best in the nation, not in the state, in the nation, paramedic system right now because of the development that we were able to do with Mr. Vargas at that time and create a extremely well-trained individuals in order to protect. And I remember my times, I wasn't one of the paramedics. I was an EMT. I was in the ambulance for a long time, and believe it or not, there was only 2 ambulances back then. And we would go out like 20 or 30 times a day.
Oh, you can see it. And, number one, we commend you with that because that's something that people sometimes frown upon. And listen, folks, I don't care about your religious preference, your political sides. When you're hurt and you call 911, first responders are the ones who come up there, and they don't care, and they're not going to ask you, well, you're a Democrat or Republican.
That's
They're going to
correct.
tell you, you're going to be okay, and we're here to help you.
Definitely.
And we commend that, okay? And people move out of the way when you hear the siren.
Please.
You know what I'm saying? And
Please.
let's give them that right because they're there for a purpose. And
We drive very heavy trucks.
Understood.
And they need to understand, people need to understand that they're carrying close to between 1,000 and 1,500 gallons of water. At 8 pounds each, you're talking
Sure.
about thousands and thousands of pounds. It doesn't stop real quick. So please be careful, yes, definitely, and allow them to get through because they're trying to do their job.
that's exactly right. And they're there to protect you guys. And people like Mr. Alarcon were the forerunners for this. And again, thank you. Because we need
You're
people in different departments that always stand out. And some people fight for the right of others. And that's exactly what we've seen with you. And tell me something else. Tell me what has changed your mind to say, you know what, now I want to run what's going on. ¿Qué pasó?
For many years, I've been helping out a lot of people politically. I mean, I've always been interested in putting the right person in districts or in the city or as mayor, even in the county. We help out as much as we can. We're really, really concerned with the issues that are going on. We need people that can voice to become our voice.
Sure.
Because we're the ones that put these individuals in office, and we expect them to do the services for us. That's why my slogan says, I'm here to serve, not to be served. The thing is this, there's a saying in the fire department, and I'm going to say it in Spanish and I'll repeat it in English. Ya nomás le ponen la bacha y se olvida de dónde vino. In other words, they give them the position and they forget where they come from. Unfortunately, not all, but many individuals, as soon as they take the political position, forget where they came from. We're all the same citizens of Laredo. We're all the same individuals with issues that need to be taken care of here in the city. And that person that sits in that seat has the power to make that change in the right way. And we're hoping that we can do that, and I'm hoping that I can do that as a politician if I'm elected.
Sure. And you see, that's what happens. And you mean, everybody that runs has an idea of change.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Change, whether for the better or for the worse, there's a change.
True.
There's a change coming. Now, what a lot of candidates do not understand is when they win, they have to be amicable, and they have to be personable, can't be combative, conflictive, because
Very
you
true.
have other people there that might vote you down.
That's correct.
So you have to be able to not only work with the remainder of the council to get things done. And I've seen this, and I've seen a lot of people go in there, and all of a sudden, guess what? I'm going to try to make this better, and they don't. You know, they start conflicting and causing commotion and so on and so forth. How do you see yourself once working with everybody there?
I've always been a negotiator for many years, and I've always told all the individuals that form the team to negotiate contracts or issues that we may need for fire or the city during that time, and even for PD. When you get all these heads together, you become a team. I am a team member. I am willing to be able to sit down and say, these are the things that we need to do. Now, granted, everything costs money. But every time a politician sits up there and says, I want to do this and I want to do that, they always tend to forget that there's a budget that we need to work with. And with that budget, you can only do so much. But nobody ever comes up and says, I have an idea, I want to do this for my district or for the city itself, and say, but this is how we're going to pay for it. I always done that. I knew that to deal the contract for the fire department to get better benefits and better raises, I needed to come away on how we can create revenue. There's many ways of creating revenue without even raising taxes. You can go to the state. You can bring up ideas and come up with referendums in the state. You can come up with other issues that you can go ahead and do within the local community in order to create revenue. Because of the fact, by creating revenue, you're not putting a burden on that budget anymore. You're creating the monetary things that you need in order to do the things that you want. Don't just sit there and say, I want to do this, this, and this, and then all of a sudden, you worry about trying to finance it. If you can come up with an idea on how to finance things with your ideas that you want to do for the community, then great, let's do that. But nobody ever sits down and talks about how to create revenue. They only talk about how to spend money.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. And the city needs to understand that it has to make money in certain issues.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
To be able to produce. And right now it's kind of like, let's just spend, but what's coming in? We have a lot of talk about the bridge, the county and the city with the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
The bridge itself, just like I mentioned to several council members, just by building the bridge doesn't mean that we're going to cross more vehicles. All we're doing is making things easier for people to cross. And where you want to put that bridge is usually the question. Where would it be feasible to do it? Some people, like the county, of course, and I've spoken to Tano, and I've spoken to John Galo, and I've spoken to a lot of individuals pertaining to, they want to make an outer loop. And in order to do that outer loop, you put the bridge in, and now the issue is that the county needs money. So they need to tap into the finances that the city's making out of their bridges that they have right now. And in order to build that other bridge, the county has a small ticket that they're gonna start receiving revenue from. So is the city. But the question is, where would that bridge be feasible? South Laredo, North Laredo, Central Laredo? I truly, personally believe, why not build a bridge next to the international bridge that we have right now? The infrastructure is already built on the US side and the Mexican side. If you build another bridge, now you have vehicles going on one bridge going one way and vehicles in the other bridge coming the other way. And you open the corridors to more traffic going in and out. I know Laredo crosses between 9, 10, 12,000 trucks on a daily basis. We need to help that happen. Americans, US citizens, are not crossing that much to Mexico because of Mexico's issues. But we still have the Mexican people crossing over to do their business over here, whether it's work or whatever it may be that they come over. So all we're doing is opening up the border for more individuals from Mexico to be able to cross over here, because we are not, very many of us, and I know I ain't, crossing over there at all because of the issues that Mexico has.
You're absolutely correct. And both of us have families.
That is
on both
correct.
sides.
Yes,
And,
sir.
people do not understand that most people here in Laredo have families on both sides, especially the families that have been here for
Many
4, 5,
years.
6 generations.
That is correct.
And so there is issues on the Mexican side. There is safety precautions.
That
on the
is
Mexican
correct.
side. I've seen a lot of talk about our president's, Trump's wall,
Mm-hmm.
that we don't need it, that we need it, that it's not gonna be good, that we need a virtual wall, that we need this. We already have virtual walls. We already have sensors up and down
That is correct.
the frontier.
Mm-hmm.
If it's for security, if it's to make jobs, I'm for it.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
Border security is a huge, huge part of my life. We need to secure our borders, whether it's a wall, or whether it's more border patrol, or whether it's better equipment, or whether it's whatever the issue may be. I'll give you a good example. I lease a ranch on Mines Road, about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile to the river. We have feeders that feed the deer, and we have cameras on those feeders.
Sure.
Right through that ranch, in that camera, we've taken pictures of many individuals carrying backpacks, large backpacks. Now, they're not carrying clothes and they're not carrying food. We know they're probably carrying illegal drugs or whatever. And there's many of them that we take pictures of all the time. And I report it to the Border Patrol, and the Border Patrol says, there's not enough of us, which is true because the border is extremely long. Whatever it takes to secure our borders, to keep the drugs away from our children, to keep the safety away from, our schools safe, to make sure that all of us are individuals as elders to be safe in any way possible, because those individuals may be carrying drugs,
Sure.
but they're also carrying weapons because they're going to defend themselves.
Of course.
And it's an issue.
You see that on the border side, on the frontier side.
Yes,
which
sir.
we need that, and there's a lot of people there. And we have a ranch that's further up in the Zavala County. And I found many that are half dead. And the Border Patrol helps them out, and it's more of a good Samaritan.
Yes, sir.
I see the Border Patrol as more of a search and rescue, because they're pulling out people that are half dead that are walking out there. And if we can save a life, whether an illegal half dying or dies out there,
Mhm.
and if we can save one child from drugs, sure, do it. I mean, I'm for it. I'm for the security.
I am for security of all U.S. citizens, especially in Laredo and Webb County. Now, granted, I used to work at station number 4, which is in the downtown area there where the depot is. And we were in charge of, unfortunately, taking the bodies out of the river that drowned, that from individuals. Unfortunately, these individuals that drowned while they were trying to cross, we had to go pick them up, and, I know that sounds bad, but we had to bag them and, you know, tag them and take care of the issue, you know. So here I am on a boat, you know, and going down the river, looking for this individual that drowned, and the body that's the corpse that's just in the water. And talking about the wall, it's going to be very, very difficult because I've seen the terrain all in that area. You're talking about creeks, you're talking about rivers, you're talking about ravines, you're talking about really, really bad areas to build a wall. It's going to be very difficult to do that. I do know that because when we were going down the river, I saw all of this. But I am I'm the type of person that works with economy to better the situations. Just like I say, if it's going to cost, let's say, 25 billion, 50 billion, whatever the number may be, let's turn it around and give it to our Border Patrol and custom agencies. And if you cannot build that wall, get that money. Don't forget our brothers out there in the Border Patrol and the customs area, and say, what do you need?
That's exactly right.
Let's improve the system. Let's get you more Border Patrols. Let's get you better equipment, helicopters, whatever it takes to secure our border.
And it's a problem that we all live with, you know, here. And I'm not saying it's a problem of security, because we see the drugs infiltrating all
That's
our
correct.
neighborhoods. And drugs do not prejudice. They do not discriminate. They hit everybody. Todos parejo.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what it affects, how many it affects, how many lives it takes. And you're like, it has to stop somehow.
Has to.
It has to stop. You know, every so often you used to hear of the poor illegal that fell between the train tracks, crossing the tracks. What happened?
Yeah.
You used to
I used to pick up all those bodies.
or find a truck with about 32 inside that were dead.
Yes.
When is this going to stop? How is this going to stop? What is it going to? You know, it's.
I'll give you a really short story again. I was at the ranch, my sons, and we were just talking about David a little while ago, my brother-in-law, and he was in one of the four-wheelers, and we were all at the ranch cooking meat, and they were all in their four-wheelers, and somebody was waving us down there at the stock tank that we have at the ranch, and my wife says, somebody's over there, and I said, well, let me go check it out, and I went over there, and it was a poor individual, an illegal. And I looked at him and I felt so bad for him because these guys crossed him over in the river and they took his shoes away and they took his food away and they took everything away. So he was walking in the brush barefooted. His feet were about this thick. He had thorns, it was cut. I mean, it was really bad. And I told him, I'll help you because the ranch happens to be right next to the training field. So I'll take you to the firefighters. They're going to bring an ambulance and they'll take you to the hospital. The only unfortunate thing, brother, le dije, is that they're going to end up deporting you back. Dijo, en Spanish, dijo, no me importa, quiero irme para atrás. Ya me maltrataron mucho. These individuals are suffering so much, and I feel so bad for them. It's just like I said, any type of security that we can have, and I really believe, like I said, in economy, you know, if we can give that money to our Border Patrol and hire more individuals and give them better equipment to slow it down. I don't think we'll ever stop it, but slow it down to the point to where these individuals don't have to suffer so much. And if only the government can figure out, we need these people. They take care of our hotel, motels, there are gardeners, there are cooks. You can't take them back. You'll stop the economy. Dramatically, you'll just stop it. So they need to work there at the bridge and have a better way, a better system, instead of paying un coyote to cross them, to pay the government and say, let me cross legally. And now you have a system with documentation, with names and everything, and people are supposed to return after 6 months, after 3 months, whatever it may be. But at least you have a system.
The immigration process needs to be changed.
Definitely.
And it seems to be a double standard, especially with Latin American countries. And I see that. And you see the double standards with some of the African countries and Middle Eastern countries in comparison to those in Latin America. That is foreseen.
Yes, sir.
I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But our number one goal is that our immigration laws, rules, or the way they are doing it needs to change. Not only here, in all the embassies and consulates that we have abroad. It has to change. Because where there's corruption, that's where it's going to be at. That's where you're going to find it. You
Yes,
know?
sir.
And if, I don't know, it just, That's an issue.
The main idea is just security.
Sure. Let's touch base on what projects do you foresee if you get elected?
Many projects. There's some good ones. I already know that it's in the forefront for our rec center to be built because unfortunately we don't have one. And from what I hear with the discussions that I had with a gentleman yesterday, it says because they think that since we live in a higher payer scale area that we don't need one, and that's a load of whatever. Our elderly need a rec center. They need to exercise, they need to walk, they need to do things. They want to do things, not just be inside. We need an area to have boxing, basketball, whatever the kids need in order to entertain themselves within the district. I spoke to several of the veterans, and they're all very interested in making a museum.
Sure.
And I know that there was a building donated, but we're talking about a building that is no more than 1,200 square feet.
Sure.
Come on. I mean, if we're going to do something, I'm pro youth 100%. We need to develop our youth area. We need to develop their culture. If we can have a museum that is feasible enough, large enough, say more like 15,000 square feet or maybe even 20,000 square feet of an area to have a beautiful museum, but not only for the veterans like I've spoken to them, bring in your machine guns, bring in your tanks, bring in those old equipment so the kids can be overwhelmed with all this education over World War I, II, and Vietnam and Korea and all that stuff. And then besides that, have the history of the fire department. We had 2 firefighters that passed away in a fire over there at LCC. Put up a memorial for them. We have a lot of police officers that have died on the line of duty. Put up a memorial for them too. Put up a memorial for U.S. Customs, for Border Patrol, for Sheriff's Department. Make it a big enough museum to entertain the child that comes from school and walk in and say, wow, this is a nice place. Finally, Laredo has a beautiful enough museum. I've been to San Antonio, New York, Washington. Oh my God, these museums that really amaze me dramatically. Why not have something like that here? And besides that, on our culture, I just spoke to a lady over here close to United High School, and I was telling her about what I want to do and maybe come up with a sports complex, because we have these fields all separated. Whenever we have tournaments, everybody's in different places. I've been to San Antonio, McAllen, and they embarrass us with sports complexes. Yeah. And she says, what about the culture? I go, what do you mean culture? She goes, yeah, my sons don't play football, don't play volleyball, don't play soccer. They do the violin, with the piano. They like paintings. Why not have a museum also that has that caters to their culture?
Well, a center where we can have that.
Very well.
We used to have a civic center.
Mm-hmm.
Now they sold it to, I believe, LISD.
LISD, that's correct.
So we don't have a civic center as per se. Okay, we have an arena, but the arena is not dedicated nor has not designed for that.
No,
okay?
It's not designed for that.
So we don't have a civic center type of theater, so on and so forth. You have the Laredo Little Theater, which is a nonprofit entity that does plays.
That's correct.
But if you want to have an award ceremony, if you want to have a presentation, if you want to have that, we have
a little
none.
concert with music, because of the culture. There's kids out there.
You're absolutely correct.
I'll give you an example. Baseball, great players make it all the way to state level.
Sure.
They've even won the World Series in Pony League. Football, they're getting up there. Basketball, they almost made it to state. We're talking about soccer, great players. Now we were a part in boxing. Oh my God! I just went this weekend to the boxing that was going on, and that was awesome. That Tony Nanez and his people are doing for Guns and Hoses. I mean, we need more centralized events for all these kids. I was a part of the 4-H and FFA program that they have, the shooting sports program. We have no archery area. We have no 22 area. We sent kids 3 or 4 years ago to San Antonio to compete in the state level. We took over half of their events. First place in state.
No, you are absolutely correct. We have a lot of talent here. We have a lot of great recreation centers. They're mismanaged. It's pitiful.
It is.
I mean, it's ridiculous the way they have it. They run it like what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
It's who are
Unfortunately.
you? Who do you know? Why? Why do you want to have it? Well, you know what? We're going to charge you more than have that one, because guess what? you're not really a big organization.
Se les olvida de dónde vienen.
You know, the problem that we have, Mr. Alarcon, is this. We have way too many department heads that need to be given a letter and said, you know what, here's your early retirement. Go fly a kite. Seriously, if you do not cut off that finger, you're not going to save a hand. And we have a lot of folks out there that
Yes, sir.
need to go. I mean, they are killing departments down, and everybody thinks, oh, they're doing a great job. No, they're not.
We need to sit down, whoever the individuals may be, and
We have great boxing.
oh my God,
Okay, we have great boxing.
Amazing
you go
kids.
to the Santa Maria Rec Center, that's on
Mhm.
Santa Maria from the city. What is it, Farias Rec Center?
that's correct.
Anytime after 5 o'clock, you have one guy farting around inside that gym. And it's just one guy
Mhm.
farting around in that gym. They don't use it for the kids, they don't use it for the adults. And if you have another guy that came in there, just walks around counting air molecules, he's there. They're not being used the way they're supposed to. You have a beautiful gym over here that was given the Canizales gym, the
Mhm.
Canizales Rec Center. It closes at 3. Why do you want? Why'd you spend it? Oh, because we don't have the boxing coaches. Really? That's what Laredo has more of.
That's correct.
You know what
Just
I'm
go to
saying?
the Guns and Hoses gym there, and it's open all day long.
You know, there's boxing coaches, there's Savat coaches that we've produced, and we
Yes,
produce
sir.
that. Listen, their mentality it's not there. So we need people that are going to step up to the plate that go in there.
Amen. Amen.
You know, because some of these city councilmen, you tell them, and they're like oblivious of what's going on. Wake up! You're there for a purpose.
The thing is this, it's very unfortunate. I coached for 9 years, my son's team. It was under Little League and it was under Pony. I coached under basketball. I coached under archery. I coached under 22. I even coached kids in 4-H on how to show their lambs, goats, steers, and everything in their shows. I've been a part of the youth community for many, many years, and a lot of people, if they're listening right now, they know who I am. And they know that I've been a part of the youth. The youth is a huge investment.
Sure.
If you bring in tournaments, I mean, we go to Benavides to do the archery tournament in district. Benavides, no tienen más de 3,000 habitantes, 3,000 people population, and they have a facility there that kicks us in behind over here on the facility that we have over here on 59. I mean, come on. I mean, we need to improve things for our youth. The youth will bring in a lot of money, hotel, motel taxes, food for restaurants, selling food, selling fuel. They'll live in, I mean, if you go to different areas, they make a lot of money off our youth. Every time that I speak to politicians, they're always talking about bringing other business. That's automatic. Business, we have to build the infrastructure to bring businesses over here to hire people. That is automatic. I don't have to be in there to remind these people that it has to be done. It has to be done. But we haven't done anything for our youth.
No,
Zero.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, we have a tremendous pony league
Yes.
with Mr. Rosas coming in and everybody else.
That is correct.
And everybody was against it.
Mhm.
I go, what for? He's bringing in people. He's bringing in people, help him out. The city helps us out with some of the events that we have with the USA Savant, and we're very grateful. But we teach a lot of kids for free.
Mhm.
We teach a lot of things for, so there's a lot of people out there doing. They help out, but I think, to me, is this: the rec centers need to be managed correctly.
Definitely.
Being misused.
That is correct.
And everybody would say that, me, you, everybody tells them that, but they're in some kind of, and they have great people that work there. But the problem is, I don't know where it's coming from, I don't know where it is, but that really needs to be revamped.
You've been in this profession for many, many years, and you've helped out kids for many, many years. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Kids love to learn, and they learn well. We're building up a good community here.
One thing, Mr. Alarcon, is when I first came in here, and for the first 3 years, I came back, because my dad was teaching for a very long time. I moved
Mhm.
back here in 2000, okay? And my dad and uncle taught Savat there before. But back in 2000, between 2000 to 2003, we had Mr., who was a fireman, Espinola,
Mm-hmm. I remember. Mm-hmm.
okay? And a lot of the firemen came up through Savat and they're inside the fire.
That's correct.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them that were Pelon, David De Leon, which, you know, fought for us, was the champion of USA Savat. A lot of guys, Jaime, all those guys came up through the school and became firemen.
That's correct.
And he would kind of like funnel them out there. Why? Because he knew that they had a word. He knew that they were dedicated. He knew all that stuff. But, you know, we can spread that out throughout the city.
And the
We
good
can
thing about
reach
that
more.
is you teach a lot of discipline. That's why I put my son, when he was a little kid, in karate. He needed to learn discipline, and that's good to teach.
And when you teach somebody to be disciplined, that's what you get. You
Yeah.
get good individuals
That
in
is
the
correct.
working community.
Mhm.
And that's what we're trying to achieve. What else would you like to see?
Springfield. Major corridor that needs to be opened.
Sure.
Del Mar, there's only 3 ways of getting north after you pass, I think it's Calle del Norte.
Sure.
It's just McPherson, the highway, and the loop. That's it. Because, you know, through Roque Vela, he opened up the corridor, Bartlett, but unfortunately, I don't know who the engineers were talking to back then, did not plan for the future to leave a corridor open through Plantation for Bartlett to continue on through. It just stops right there on Del Mar. So there's no way of getting any further north. Springfield, I've been speaking to individuals and landowners in that area. They're very interested in as a matter of fact, I have a meeting with one of them at 3 o'clock today, and we're gonna discuss the issues of opening up that corridor. Springfield needs to open up to alleviate the traffic. In Del Mar alone, Bartlett, the loop, the highway, well, the highway is the access road, but the loop itself is so congested.
Sure.
McPherson is so congested. We need to alleviate that traffic. And that needs to be done soon. I've already been told that there's a 10-year plan and there's a 5-year, oh, no. I don't like to foresee the future. I want to do it now. If there's any monies available and we can speak to those landowners and figure out what we can do, let's do it. 10 years from now, I'll probably be gone. You know, I mean, we need to make sure that all of this is done immediately. Not 10 years from now, not 20 years from now. No plans like that. We need to alleviate all of that traffic and open up Springfield. There's a lot of things that we need to do within the district, like I mentioned, you know, the rec center itself. Sports complex. Really would love to do something like that. I mean, to be able, when we opened up the Unitrade baseball field, I remember going to one of the tournaments that one of my nephews was in, and he was playing for United. It was United versus Alexander. Great game. EJ Garcia was there pitching, and Charles Villa, my nephew, was pitching there. And they're best of friends. I mean, they played baseball in Little League and Pony League, and they went all the way to the state, and they took these people, great players. Both teams were awesome teams. Developed very well. I was there. A lot of the individuals that were coming in for that tournament that was going on, they were all amazed. They were looking around and seeing this really nice Unitrade building for baseball. But it's just one field. Why not? I mean, there's a place that they told me, it's called, I think it's Portland, Texas. And they said it's the #1 place to go play baseball for tournaments. Why do we have to hire more people to do maintenance? AstroTurf. Everywhere. Zero maintenance on all those fields. Zero. No watering.
It's called somebody's got a contract.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a contract for the sprinklers.
But and it might cost a little more, but in the long run, you're saving a lot of money.
No, you're absolutely correct.
A lot of money.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir.
Zero scaping fields. Zero scaping. They said they have nobody hired there, and it's green all the time. You don't have to water it. I mean, gotta get together and use your head the proper way. And I know it's gonna cost a little bit more, but in the long run, you're gonna save a lot of money. So there's a lot of things that the district needs, really and truly. I don't want to downplay any other council members. I mean, because of the fact that they've done what they can.
The majority of the council now they're doing what they can
with what they have. That's
Yeah,
correct.
you're absolutely correct.
Mhm.
I mean, people are downing them, you know, they were chastising them because of the river park over there,
Mhm.
lazy river. Hey, that's what it is. That day was this, it was that, they use this construction.
Yeah.
Okay, I wish we had one up there,
Yes.
understand? So people are always going to nag, they're always gonna be disgruntled, they're always gonna have their idea, but yet they don't get off their seat and do anything about it. They don't even go vote, the majority of those folks.
And I wish they would, because if
You know what I'm saying?
that's how
So
you can voice your opinion.
Yeah, you know, you go on there and everybody's complaining this, and then if you look at the list of voters, they're not even on there.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I remember I was helping out a friend, I won't mention his name, and we're all sitting down, and he goes, did you vote? We're all sitting down and the same thing, oh yeah, I voted. Well, your name's not on the list. No, you didn't vote. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know, you didn't vote. You know, and that's what happens with people.
In order to get things done, you have to vote. People, please. I mean, you got to understand something. In order, let's say that, God willing, you put me in, and you give me a phone call and you say, I need this. In order to voice your opinion, you have to make a difference. And in order for you to go ahead and come up and say, we need this, hey, we'll give it a try. It's just like I told a certain individual that says, what can you do for us? I said, look, I'm not going to promise anything, but whatever we can, whatever I can develop in creating revenue and do things for the right reasons, I'll do it. He goes, I'm voting for you. And I said, why? Because you're the first politician that did not promise anything.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I look at they're all great hearts that go inside, okay? Then they all start going inside, they get tangled up in this thorn bush.
Amen.
Okay, and the majority of them do not know how the city works, why it works that way. That other people, they have to vote for their project, the majority do not have that clue that exists.
And the reason I didn't promise them, because I know budgets.
You know?
I've done budgets. I've done them for 31 years in the fire department. I know exactly what it curtails. I dealt contracts for 25 years, and I know exactly what can be done and what cannot be done.
And that's why we need folks that understand that to go ahead and, we need negotiators.
Yes.
We need folks that understand the way the city runs. We need people that are gonna project to go forward.
That's correct.
You know, we have great attorneys that are there.
Yes. Mhm.
You know, the city has probably more protected by attorneys than anybody else.
That's true.
Okay? And they should all work in unison and get this city up and running. And, you know, instead of kind of like, it's not the courtroom. We can't sandbag. Don't sandbag the people.
That's correct.
You can sandbag your cases in the courtroom. Make more money out of their clients.
Mhm.
But not from, you know, let's get things done. Let's get things done, you know. I've heard a lot of people say, I called the councilman and he didn't give me a call back. I called the city, I didn't get a call back. I went to City Hall because we needed help with this, I didn't get a call back. Hey folks, pick up the phone and call back.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what you need to do. You have to be a person that represents the people.
That's what I wanted to say here, and I'm glad that, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I want to be the people's voice. I don't want to be a businessman's voice. I don't want to do anything under the table. I don't want to do anything like that. As it is right now, they got their tail under their legs right now because of the investigations that are going on with FBI. I really, really hope and I really pray that if I do get in, God willing, is that all of this is taken care of before I get in there, because I really want a clean slate. And that's the way it has to be taken care of. You got to remember, we pay taxes, and we want our money to be spent wisely. And if we do that, we'll end up pleasing everyone, because we know that there's nothing being done under the table anymore, or nothing. And I know I might really tick some people off out there and saying, under the table, what does it mean by? Come on. I mean, we wouldn't be getting investigated for no reason.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think they did it for overtime.
for being altar boys.
Exactly.
You know
So
what I'm saying? So, you know, But, you know, that's, that, and some of those names that came up when you talk about the investigation, some of those names I've heard in the back,
So have I.
and you're like, okay, finally they're gonna do something about it.
Hmm.
But again, like the FBI, it takes their own sweet time.
Very
But,
unfortunate.
and the FBI also has a black eye in their face.
Mhm.
So, you know, they have to clean up their act.
That is true.
So people aren't, right now, the FBI, we have great agents, but again, like the top of the head, those little de facto bosses that are out there, they have to go. You have to clean house. When you have somebody that's been in a power of a department, whether federal or whether state or whether municipal, and they've been there, that supersedes the term limits of people that get them hired,
Mhm.
there's something going on there. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Change them. You know what? Thank you so much for your service. Here's your early retirement. If you're not elected, okay, which I believe that the fire chief should be elected, and I believe that the chief of police should be elected because of the power that they have,
Right.
should be elected. I believe the city secretary should be elected, like it was before.
Like it was before, yes.
If you have those people in there, then you do not have that issues of what have occurred in the recent times. Understand?
Well, instead of pleasing someone, all you're doing is pleasing your constituents.
Exactly right. So when people say we need to change the city charter, yeah, let's change it for that. Okay? No, we need a more powerful mayor. Well, we already had our issues with a very powerful mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we need city council to be at large. No, there's a lot of cities that already shown us, like Crystal City, that what happens with an at-large council.
That's correct.
So let's learn by the mistakes of others and enhance our own.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
And that's what needs to happen here. I'm for change of the city charter if it needs be.
Definitely. For the better.
For the better.
Mhm.
You know, you had an issue with one of the city councilmen saying that he had done an act that was illegal, and he had been, and somebody said there was of moral turpitude, and others said, no, it's not, because this is what it states. And then when I saw that, I looked into what the Secretary of State and the Attorney General basically stated. You have to define it,
Yes.
what moral turpitude is. You have to put it in the parentheses. And if it's not there, what's different for you is different for me. So that's just the way.
It has to be designed better for the needs of the community,
for the future.
not for the needs of the individual. You know, like I mentioned, and my saying's always been, someone coming on the phone, don't want to mention any names, like I said, call me up and he says, God, that's a great slogan. I'm here to serve, not to be served. I've been saying that all my life.
Mhm.
It doesn't just work with city council, it works with my family, it works with friends, it works with, if we all serve, then everybody would be served.
Sure.
If we all do our part. The great Lord has always said, you need to be there for others.
Sure.
That way others can be there for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a saying in Spanish. He says, vives para servir, si no, no sirves para vivir.
Amen. That's correct.
And that, I've always taken that with life. You help out others.
Definitely.
Do not expect a thank you.
No, don't.
Do it from
The bottom of your heart.
Just do it.
Yes.
Don't do something for a thank you.
Mm-mm.
Just do it.
Exactly.
The thank yous will come later on in time when you see.
And
that
that's what
person.
our city politicians need to believe in their head. They're not there, or if I'm there, I'm not there to serve myself. I am there to serve my community, which is District 6, and my city. What I can do, would be the best thing to do to serve the people, I am going to be their voice. I am going to, all the people that know me know, no se calla, nomás está hable, dale lo que quiera, por favor, para que se calle. The thing is that the reason I do this is because I need for people to understand, or I need to counsel. And that's how I want to negotiate with these individuals, the other 7 that are there, plus the mayor, to actually sit down and say, come on, guys. It's this simple. Are we going to be able to do a service for the people, or are we going to be able to do a service for a certain individual? And if it's not for the people, I am not for it. We need to work together because we're here voted by our own constituents.
Sure.
And we need to serve them. And I'm that type of person. And the city individuals know, because I've already dealt with every single person there in the city. And they know, ay, viene Fernando. He's going to remind us about this and he's going to remind us about that. We need to be reminded. And we're all human. We all make mistakes. And that's the honest truth. But if we can remind ourselves and say, hey, you're overstepping yourself. Yeah, thank you. I almost took that bad step. Thank you very much. Let's go forward and progress.
That's what we need to do. We need to look at ourselves and associate ourselves with people that are looking for the positive.
Exactly. And we need to create a future for our youth. They're the ones that are going to take over when we're older and taking care of us and making sure that our needs are taken care of as an elderly.
You're absolutely correct. We have great schools. We
Yes,
have
we do.
UISD with great facilities.
Yes, we do.
LISD with great facilities. Great. Now they want more to build more campuses. But what are we as a city? What are we doing to our youth? We're kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go after school?
Amen.
Not everybody's a baseball player. Not everybody's a football player or
That's
a basketball
correct.
player. Not everybody can play music. And
That is
band.
correct.
Not all the girls are going to be cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
That's just life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So what happens to the rest of the kids? They're just going to go out there and what? There's nothing there.
They're going to end up leaving.
No, not leaving. Do malicious things or go on the wrong road.
That's true.
But, that's exactly right. I see it also with the churches. We see some churches with great facilities to have teams, to teach, to do this. They're all closed. You're like, let's help out. Let's teach the kids in this neighborhood here. They won't do that.
If we can start uniting and getting, I'll give you a good example.
Sure.
My son wanted to go to Texas A&M.
Okay.
He said, but I spoke to him and I said, look, you got your money already for college. Tienes su dinero para ir. And he's only got a certain amount of money to cover him, hopefully, God willing, between 3 to 5 years. If you stay in Laredo and go to TAMU, and you have 1 year, you save yourself some money. And then you go to A&M, because he wants to become, God willing, a vet. And he wants to do services, because he's just like me. He loves to deal with animals. Okay? And he said, yeah, Dad, I'll stick around for 1 year. He came back to me and said, Dad, I'm going to make it 2. Just recently, he just said he's going to complete his 2.5 years of TAMU. He says, you know what? I'm just going to get my biology degree here at TAMU. He loves TAMU. The facility, it's a great college. It's at home, and then there's a lot of things to do. The only thing what we need now in that university, and I hear now that LCC might become a 4-year college very soon also, which I hope it does. We need to expand the programs to develop our minds. We need to not only develop them under world trade, but we need to develop them under biology, under sciences, under geology, let's broaden these. I guarantee you a lot more people will start coming to our own schools and also create revenue for the city itself.
No, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. We need folks that are visionaries. And we don't need folks that are envisioned into themselves. I want to do this, I want to produce, I want to help out, not
Nomás give me.
Las Rios,
Yeah.
Las Rios a whole, just one side, they're pushing this way. You can't be
We got to
that.
do our services, and we got to be able to go out in the state and lobby for these individuals. I want to lobby out there, and I know Richard Raymond is a very good friend of mine.
Sure.
I know Safarini, and we need individuals that will help out, and we can talk to them and create different visions and more monetary things. I know there's monies out there in order to develop TAMU even larger, and then even LCC.
Sure.
So we need to broaden our base.
We have some great leaders here. We have some great leaders. But I think everybody's flying everywhere.
Mhm.
I think everybody has to kind of get back together.
We need to get
Let's-
together.
Here's Laredo.
Mhm.
Let's focus.
Exactly. And start thinking together. Just like I said, the team that I
You
had,
already, you're a team. Boom.
not one head will do it. Several heads and negotiating. And I know it's going to take some time. There might be a little bit of arguments in this.
Sure.
It always happens. But you come up to a conclusion. And that conclusion is for the betterment of life in our community, period.
You know, when they placed our city manager in there, okay, everybody, no, okay, we need one from out of town. No, okay, we need one from I don't know where. No, okay, we need one from out of state. Why don't we get one that's from here, Laredo, that knows
Exactly what's
how
going
the
on.
city works,
Mhm.
and let's get him. And he was a perfect choice, because he grew up in the city.
Yes.
He grew up within this Laredo.
He grew up within the
municipality,
system.
Within the system.
Yes.
So who better to tell you what to do?
Exactly.
And I think he's done an excellent job.
Well, that's just doing, pardon the expression because we're good friends and you call me, now I'm going to call him Horacio. Mr. De Leon is doing a great job.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do what's best for the city with what he has. I remember a long time ago when we were negotiating and we were going to end up with a 2.5%. And a lot of our firefighters are saying, Jesus, Cap, you know, I'm really teed up because we couldn't get our 3. Okay. It's not the city manager's fault. His job is to balance the budget.
Right.
And he's not the bad guy. If he only gave us a 2.5 or a 2 or a 1.5 or a 3, it's because that's what he could give. He needs to be able to balance the budget. He can only have so much to give. So you shouldn't see him as the bad guy. He's just doing his job just like we're doing our job. Do your job, let him do his job, and we'll figure it out later. And it works.
Yeah.
And I really believe that he's capable of running the city very well. I hope he sticks around for some time.
Sure.
And I think we're in good hands.
No, we have good folks inside. We have folks that really want to. And there's several candidates that are running with you. How many are there?
From what I hear, that first I heard that there was 8. Now I think there's 9 individuals running for city
And they all
council.
come from different backgrounds.
That's correct.
And this is a race that it's the incumbents out,
Mhm.
on his way. And this is a race that everybody is up front with everybody.
Mhm. Pretty much. It's going to be difficult. I understand that. And please, I hope y'all don't get mad at us because I know you're going to see a bunch of signs all over the place, and a lot of people usually get mad because, oh my God, look at the mess. But it's politics, and we're only all trying to do our part. I've spoken to several. I've spoken, face to face with a few of individuals, and I mean, I have no ill remorse over anyone.
Sure.
He's just another individual that's running just like I am. I give him the best. And I think that we all, just like you mentioned, we all have different views and different things. My vision is to make this district the best that you can make it, have everything and all the needs that my constituents may need, and work with the city in order to improve all departments and all divisions and try to figure out how we can work this city for the better.
Sure. No, you will. And I think what we need to understand is this election is in November.
Mhm.
And in November, again, everybody signs up in August.
Right.
So from those 9, you're probably going to have about 6, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I'm pretty sure. If not, you're going to be looking at a runoff, which is natural because of the amount of people that are there.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think it's going to be a election that many people are coming out to vote.
It doesn't look like it, but I hope it's.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at that whole thing because a lot of people do not want to vote. We had a gentleman here, Mr. Castillo, that
Mhm.
was talking about the reasons why he had done a survey for 3 years, the reason why the voters of Webb County are not voting.
Right.
And his survey came out to the point that people thought the voting system or the way it was done, there was corruption behind it. If that's the mentality, it sure reflected in how many came out now.
True. Very true.
So this runoff election that we have in May, which is for the county, I don't think more than 5,000 people are going to show up.
Very unfortunate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So hopefully we get more for the city.
I really hope so too, because
Hopefully.
it's just like we mentioned earlier, if you want to voice your opinion and you want to be able to scream and shout at the things that are being done, vote.
Sure.
Vote. And that is, the loudest you can scream out there if you go out and vote and you make a difference. Yeah, you're right. A lot of people didn't have confidence in the voting system.
Sure.
Things have changed, as we know. Another individual is running the system. I know him very well. Mr. Tellez is a good man, and he's a lawyer, and I really truly believe that he'll do things the right way. And I'm hoping that by that change happening, that more people would have confidence going out and vote. Hopefully.
I hope, because that's the only way we're gonna get things done.
True.
That's the start.
That is true.
That's the start.
I need the people to go out and vote. I have I've been doing a lot of things all my life. And I have a lot of friends, and then I've backed up a lot of individuals, and I've supported others and all that stuff. And in order to take this, I know that the people are gonna have to vote. And in order to accomplish the things that I'm hoping that we can accomplish if I'm in there, people need to go out and vote. And I truly believe that if I can be their voice, and like I said, the people that know me out there know how aggressive I can be on issues that need to be taken care of for the right reasons. The people that don't know me out there, you're going to find out how aggressive I can be in order to improve things and to make things better, and in the good way. Just like you say, we're not going to throw sticks or rocks at people and hurt individuals, but you're going to hear my voice to the point to where I'm going to be the person's voice now and make sure that everything's heard and done right. God willing, we'll see.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And the race is coming up in November.
Yes, sir.
Folks, word for you guys, it's not text and drive. Been a couple of accidents lately. And also, for our first responders out there, keep doing a hell of a job, because that's exactly what you're doing. May God bless you all. And then once more, thank you for being with us.
Mr. Buitrón, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for everything you've done.
No, thank you. And for those guys out there, download our app, which is Border Indie, and it's very simple to get at. And you can find us also on YouTube. If you do, you can look under Buitron Academy, which we'll upload that later on. So take care of our sponsors. Be safe. Until next time.
God bless.